I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through. I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I had to leave. I will let you go. Why do you think that I want? Why do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here as we get set for the 17th race of the second season for the NNSCRA Duracell Ultra Lite Series. Continuing our race weekend here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway, 4 races, including this afternoon, remain until we put together the 10 drivers that will battle it out in this season's championship fight. 7 drivers will point their way in, 3 drivers will get in through wildcard spots, and this is the last traditional mile-and-a-half racetrack that these Lights drivers will see until we eventually get to the playoffs. Could be an interesting one here. Multi-groove racing at Homestead-Miami. Should be a lot of fun, and should be interesting to see who's going to come away with this one as things just continue to get more convoluted in that battle for the wild card positions, around that 7th position in the overall standings. I mean, it is crazy. You can't really make many predictions outside of maybe 2 or 3 drivers that look like they're in good shape to make it in the playoffs at this point in time. It's a who's who of still is eligible and who even still has a shot with some wildcard racetracks coming up, including next week, the road course of Watkins Glen. But 7th in the points is a very prevalent spot. It's the last points paying position for you to be able to make it into the playoffs at the conclusion of Auto Club, and our pole sitter Eli Bright is currently in possession of that spot. He's still chasing his first victory on the season, but he nets his second pole on the season as well. He is looking to either win or garner points to move him further up inside of the top 7, get away from that cut line. And Trackhouse Racing brought some really fast race cars this week as they swept the podium with Roberto Crown Jr., who's still in the thick of it for that regular season championship on the outside of the front row, and Juan Garcia, a former winner this season from Charlotte, completing that podium position. So the Toyotas at Trackhouse Racing look really good. We'll see if that good qualifying speed is going to translate to good race speed, with one of them finding victory lane here tonight. 4th place is going to be Cody Majorek. Now, Majorek currently finds himself in the 3rd and final wildcard spot, and he's 10th in overall points. Aubrey Powell, Juan Garcia, Cody Majorek, 8th, 9th, 10th in points are 1, 2, 3 in terms of the seeding for the wildcard spots, which means that a lot of other drivers, including Skylar Taylor, Nathan Stapleton, Dave Smith, Michael Turner, Cole Koibe, and last week's winner, Wes McCoy, they need to really find a huge streak here of momentum in terms of consistency, or maybe a second trip to victory lane to leapfrog in the wild card conversation. Wes is going to roll off from the 5th position here, looking for back-to-back victories. Cole Koibe, another name we just mentioned, a former winner at Manassas, starts on the outside of row number 3. So if we see another multi-time winner, as we've only got one on the season in Cam Wright Jr., more than likely, I would say, they've locked themselves into the playoffs. Regardless of if they finish in the top 7 or not, they've more than likely locked themselves into the playoffs. So I think a lot of drivers, as I mentioned, this being the last traditional mile-and-a-half, a lot of drivers that rely on the mile-and-a-half program, they're eyeing this racetrack excuse me, as an opportunity to win their way into a playoff position. Well, let's go down trackside. Let's get those most famous words in motorsports and get ready to go racing here in Southern Florida at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. right side of your screen, you'll see your starting lineup. 30 drivers going to take the green flag here tonight, including a number of drivers pulling double duty this weekend at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Jack Mitchell, Dylan Young, Daniel Voiles, all in the field here this evening. Well, your point stands coming into this race. It's still close between the juniors. Cam Wright Jr., 3 points in hand over Roberto Crown Jr. Kyle Langland moved up a spot after Kentucky last week. He's now third in points, highest of the non-winners, 28 points out of the points lead. David Dixon dropped a spot to fourth. He's 35 points back. Colin Grace moved up to fifth, currently 39 points out. Jordan Anderson gained a couple of spots from 8th to 6th, so right now would be in a points-paying playoff position. Currently 46 points out of the points lead. And Eli Bright, we already documented our pole sitter, is in that final 7th points-paying position. Aubrey Powell, 8th overall in points. Juan Garcia, 9th. Cody Majorek, 10th. All one-time winners on the season. They are your wild card drivers coming into tonight's race. So pretty much your top 10 in points would be your 10 playoff drivers if the season were to have come to a close, the regular season that is, last week at Kentucky Speedway. 75 laps here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway, and Eli Bright gets us under the green flag. Inside line prevails through 1 and 2. Shorter way around the racetrack. Juan Garcia is going to slot into second place. Wes McCoy now alongside Roberto Crown Jr. for third. Little drift up there by Eli Bright through 3 and 4. Opens up the door. Juan Garcia will snipe the first lap. He'll get the bonus point, leading lap number 1. As the race progresses and the tires start to wear out, you'll see a lot of multi-groove racing here. You'll see that second line start to come in, especially here through 3 and 4. Garcia battling back there on the top against Wes McCoy, but McCoy will get himself a bonus for a lap led, 1 week removed from his first career victory last week at Kentucky. Earlier on this afternoon during pole day qualifying for the Cup drivers, I talked about the fact that you look at what takes place during the course of a regular season, and there's drivers that you worry about and you think, boy, there's only a handful of races left. They're not going to have a chance of fighting for a playoff spot. But still, the mathematics are there, and trips to victory lane solve everything. Wes McCoy was a driver who spent a good portion of this season out of the top 20 in the points. He was really the only Haas racing car that appeared to really be struggling this season. But then last week, found victory lane. He jumped up 5 spots in the standings, 14th in points. He's not in a wild card spot yet, but it was a step in the right direction. And now this week, great qualifying effort and has his car out in clean air as we are 3 wide, several rows deep behind. Mike Tellier, Nathan Stapleton, Eli Bright in a battle for 5th place is the furthest up of that 3 wide formation. And there's another 3 rows deep behind them, with your points leader Cam Wright Jr., that orange and white number 95 right in the middle of it. Kyle Langland just slotted up to 2nd place. We mentioned he is the highest driver in the point standings right now without a victory, 3rd in overall points. Right now he and Eli Bright are the 2 drivers inside the top 7 that have yet to go to victory lane yet this season. Dylan Young, one of our Cup Series interlopers this week in the All-Star car at Bishop Family Racing. He's got his teammate Mike Tellier right behind him. We'll have to see how the performance here this afternoon for Dylan translates to how well he does tomorrow afternoon, as he's still trying to find victory lane, still trying to get into a playoff conversation on that side, in that series. Tellier, his teammate, going to cross to his inside, though. Move to 5th. Battle is on for the lead. Michael Turner looking to move by for the top spot. Nathan Stapleton right behind him as he's side by side with Langland for 3rd. Remember I mentioned there's a bunch of drivers that if they go to victory lane here this afternoon, they immediately leapfrog into the number 1 seed for the wild card spots. Skylar Taylor, Wes McCoy, Stapleton, Dave Smith, Michael Turner, Cole Coiby, and Craig Batson, all in that category. One car way up the track further back there. It looked like that was Brody Kupski. Almost making some contact with the seafoam green walls around this 1.5 miles. As Turner clears for the top position. So first time that a non-Toyota will lead here at Homestead. Nathan Stapleton will look to move on by into 2nd place, and a couple more Fords moving up the inside. A couple of KB Racing Enterprises cars. Kat Batson in the 39, her teammate Craig Batson in the 91. Craig, our winner from Texas, and we documented the fact that, he missed the beginning of the season, so he found himself 3 starts shorter than everybody else. But if Craig could find victory lane a couple of times during the course of the season, he could still get into the playoffs through a wild card spot. Well, he's up here inside the top 10 right now. One thing that will be interesting to document here, 75 laps. One would assume that these drivers cannot make it the scheduled distance on fuel, and Homestead's pit road is an interesting one. I don't believe that they have to use the access road coming into pit lane. They can pit out of 4, but they do have to use that access lane coming off of pit road through 1 and 2 and merging onto the back straightaway, and it's a very narrow access road. You can't really race double file there as Wes McCoy overstepped the cushion. He's up and into the fence. I think he did a pretty good job of not really losing his momentum, and I don't think he got any damage out of that, but gotta be careful when you're rim riding here at Homestead. Cannot overstep that cushion with the right front, or else you're going to have no turnability. That thing's just going to go straight, and you're going to find yourself, as we saw with Wes, you're going to be up and in that safer barrier. But I think he just gave it a little brush. Looks like he's good. And surprisingly, that car didn't stick into the wall. A lot of times that will happen. That could have stacked that whole outside line up. So we avoided something there. As Stapleton now goes to the point. Got his first win of his Duracell Ultra Light Series career a few weeks ago at the Chicago Motor Speedway, and now he's looking for his 2nd trip to victory lane. More importantly, looking for that number 1 wild card spot, as Nathan came into this race 15th in overall points. Well, we are 3 wide, several rows deep. Let's go on board with one of our Cup interlopers who's right in the middle of this, Daniel Voiles. Let's listen to what it sounds like when you are 3 abreast at the high banks of Homestead-Miami Speedway. Tense situation there for Daniel Voiles. We saw ahead of him for a brief moment it was 4 wide. Kim Wright Jr., Colin Grace were in that formation. Things got settled out, but Starting to see now drivers drift to the back, other drivers charge their way to the front. Michael Turner continues to lead. I noticed that Roberto Crown Jr., he has drifted back. Last time by, he was scored in the 26th position after starting on the outside of the front row. Juan Garcia, who started 3rd, he's now back to 23rd. So as I said, I wondered about that qualifying speed out of the Trackhouse cars, if that was going to translate to good long-run speed here. If we went into a green flag run, Eli Bright, the pole sitter, looks like his car is pretty good on both the short and the long run as he's making his way back forward. He is on the bottom of the racetrack here, though, and those two upper lanes appear to be getting better lined up as far as draft is concerned, so he's drifting back a little bit. Now Cody Majorek jumps down there with him, but he's still inside of the top 10. And not that far behind him as well is Sarah Fogelman, the other one of the Trackhouse cars, who started this race from dead last. I mean, that was the surprising thing in and of itself, was 75% of the Trackhouse cars qualified on the podium. The other car qualified shotgun on the field, but she's made her way up to, well, unofficially, the 12th position. How about Skylar Taylor? You know, Mazdas were fast here this weekend. Just a couple hours ago, we saw two of them qualify in the top 3, with Anthony McCurry getting his first pole on the season. Nick Gunther qualifying 3rd. Well, Skylar Taylor and Mazda here on the Lite side, our Daytona winner, trying to work his way forward, looking for his 2nd win of the season, looking to be the only driver to have multiple victories in both seasons of Duracell Ultralight Series competition. More importantly for Skylar Taylor, he's trying to get back into the playoff conversation. Skylar got that first checkered flag at the World Center of Racing, but now, 15 races later, he finds himself 13th in points and no longer in a playoff spot. A 2nd trip to victory lane this week would leapfrog him to the number 1 wildcard spot. Same can be said for the driver that looks to his inside. The driver out of Joanna Atwood Motorsports, Cody Majorek, getting his first career win back at the Iowa Speedway. Majorek coming into this race 10th in the point standings, so he is literally the final bubble driver in terms of the last driver that would get into the playoffs through the 3rd and final wildcard position. And he will clear for the top position. I believe that's the first time a Chevrolet has led so far here this afternoon. So we've had Fords, Toyotas, Mazdas, and now Chevrolets. All 4 of the manufacturers have led at least 1 lap here in this race, as it looked like there might have been 4 wide back there. Almost. Aubrey Powell, David Dixon, Jack Mitchell, Jordan Anderson back here, Colin Grace as well. All up here still in this lead group, but a lot of them have just kind of been mired back here, have not been able to work their way forward, and that's another thing too. We talk about, you know, how crucial pit road is in getting on and off with that tricky access road there on exit, but also, you know, I don't know if we can really make an accurate comparison of how much there is in terms of tire fall off right now, especially with the fact that they're all grouped together and draft is playing a huge part into these lap times. But, you know, if we just kind of eyeball most of the, say like the median lap times that we're seeing right now, specifically the drivers in the middle of the pack, I'm already seeing about 2 to 4 tenths of a second fall off from what these drivers were running in the early stages of this race. So that's a lot of ground that could be made up if you undercut and have some good outlaps on fresh tires. Chevy, Mazda, Toyota, Ford. That is your top 4. Looking back for a couple of other drivers working their way forward. How about Nathan Fogler and the Duracell Toyota Supra? Nathan 25th in points. But believe it or not, still has a shot at making it into the playoffs. He would have to win 2 races in these final 4 events in the regular season. It's improbable, but it is not impossible. Everybody still has a shot. Of course, it will be a lot clearer as to the probability percentages as we get closer and closer towards the end of this regular season, drawing closer to Auto Club. But as of right now, everybody still does have a statistical shot. Skylar Taylor looking low here on Cody Majorek. And you look at the tracks we've got coming up here for the remainder of the schedule for the Lights drivers. Next week, all the road course aces have that one circled. Watkins Glen International. We then go to Hanford. We'll have a doubleheader there with the Lights and the Cup drivers. Been really looking forward to going back to Hanford. Hanford should have been one of the best races last year, but some small issues, so some tweaks were made. And the adjustments worked out so well that NNSCRA officials felt comfortable in bringing the Lights drivers there as well. Then we go to the Auto Club Speedway for the regular season finale. Doubleheader there. We'll be having a stop-off at Bristol Dirt for the Cup Series drivers in between Hanford and Auto Club, but whoa, Eli Bright, is he coming to pit road? Yes, he is. Number of drivers coming in. Lap 28's completion. So looks like we're going to have ourselves a 2-stop race here. Michael Turner is in, Cole Koibe, Kyle Langland, Mike Tellier, Jordan Anderson, Colin Grace, Chris Dallerton, and Brody Kupski. So about maybe 30 laps is what we're looking at as the window for these drivers, 30 laps max. So a 2-stop race, as I believe Taylor is coming in this time. We'll have some drivers stay out that extra lap, try to make it to lap 30, but most everybody that didn't pit the first time around comes down this time. See how many actually did stay out. Looks like 5 drivers. David Dixon, Autumn Brooks, Dylan Young, and then these 2 who are battling for the top spot, Daniel Voiles and Nathan Stapleton. They're going to probably want to get themselves single-filed here, unless they want to try coming to pit road side by side. As Stapleton will swing around the outside of Voiles, and these 5 will hit pit road. Be a less congested pit lane, one would certainly think, coming down with only 5 drivers. There are some drivers that are just now leaving pit road, but they should be gone by the time these drivers pull in to their pit boxes. So who would the race lead cycle around to would be the question. Skylar Taylor led his group off of pit lane. I believe if he's able to get up to speed, he would cycle as the top spot. Eli Bright up to speed will move around the outside of Cody Majorek. Michael Turner will look to do the same. And then they will look to reel in the number 29 Costco Mazda. As I thought for a brief moment, I thought I saw the flagman waving the caution, but no, we are still green. There's Stapleton now just leaving pit road along with Dylan Young. So they will probably cycle up somewhere in the top 10, but that long run strategy, staying out the longest, is not going to, at least here on the short term, get them to the front. They will have 1 or 2 lap fresher tires than the other drivers around them. That could allow them to move forward the longer this run goes on, as Eli Bright reeled in Skylar Taylor. He had his tires warmed up sooner, and he has that grip to move on by for the top position. Michael Turner now going to battle with Taylor for second place. Cody Majorek cycles to 4th. Cole Koibe in 5th. Sarah Fogelman is now in 6th. 7th, Nathan Fogler. Nathan Stapleton in 8th. 9th place is going to be Jackson Haywood. And Dylan Young is going to complete the top 10. Two drivers not up here inside this top 10 are top two in the overall points. 3-point separation. Cam Bright Jr., Roberto Crown Jr. Where did those two cycle around after the pit stops? Roberto Crown Jr. looks like he is going to be 24th. Cam Bright Jr. is all the way back in 30th, which is dead last. And he's not even anywhere close to Ralph Mason, Jack Mitchell, so something really happened to them on that pit stop. And he has lost all of the ground. So he would be certainly, I would think, hoping for a yellow flag to catch back up. I don't even know if he was in the draft of Mason to be able to still move forward here in the running order. Well, Eli Bright started on the pole position. Remember, he didn't lead the first lap. Juan Garcia led the first lap. This is only the fourth lap completed for Eli Bright out in front, and it only was after he got the race lead here on the cycle of green flag pit stops. Boy, look at the drivers we've got up here, all former winners looking for that second victory to secure a wild card spot at the very least. Turner, Taylor, Majoric, and Koibe. But we've got at least one more pit stop these drivers are going to have to make. And based off the numbers we saw there on that first pit stop, it's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of laps 58 to 60. So just around 15 to go. Looks like we've got about maybe 11, 12 drivers just latched on to the tail end of this lead group. Back to around Cat Batson. Looks like Daniel Voiles might also just be in that slipstream. Maybe Colin Grace. Jordan Anderson, Wes McCoy, Autumn Brooks. Maybe this is where the tail end of that draft is. I'm not sure though. Then there's a gap back to Craig Batson, who's in the 17th spot, along with Aubrey Powell and Brody Kupski, Sean Galligan, and others. These drivers, I feel, they would need a yellow to be able to get back up there to that lead group. I don't think they necessarily, even in a single file formation, would be able to catch back up. We'll have to wait and see if they can, but I don't see that really happening, because I'm looking right now at the lap times of the leader of this pack, Craig Batson, in relation to the leader of the front pack and Eli Bright. Lap times are pretty similar. There's not a whole lot of difference in the lap times, and so while you're not necessarily losing ground to the front pack, you're not gaining ground either. Michael Turner made his way around Eli Bright, so he'll go back to the point. Michael has led the most laps so far in this race. He's the only driver that's hit double digits, as that was his 12th lap out in front. Eli Bright has led the second most at 6. Cody Majoric, that's 7 rather for Eli Bright. Cody Majoric has led 6. 4 laps led for Skylar Taylor, 3 for Nathan Stapleton, and then 5 laps led for Wes McCoy, and 1 lap led for Juan Garcia, who now finds himself all the way back in the 27th position. As a matter of fact, Aubrey Powell mired back there in 18th place. The only one of the drivers that came into this race in a wild card spot that is putting together any kind of a decent run would be Cody Majoric, who is right now up in the top 10, unofficially in the 7th position. So big opportunity for, say, a Skylar Taylor or a Nathan Stapleton, who are in this lead group, to close up on Powell or Garcia, bypass them in the point standings, and move them out of the wild card picture. Getting racy up here at the front now. Cole Koibe got around Turner for the lead. Nathan Fogler dives to the inside. He'll lead the lap, his first of the afternoon. Sarah Fogelman right behind him. Dylan Young there in the 16. We've had a number of drivers in the hunt of a Cup driver winning a Duracell Ultralight Series race, but we've yet to have it happen. Eric Sadler's given it a couple of tries. RJ Bishop, I remember back at Phoenix, he had a good car that could have won that race. Anthony McCurry, a couple of times. But right now it would be Dylan Young and Daniel Voiles. Second and fourth on that inside line. That would be the eligible Cup drivers to pick up a Duracell Ultralight Series victory here this afternoon. Of course, as well, why would that make things interesting? Well, that's a race victory that a Lights driver is not able to get to either lock themselves, potentially, or move themselves into playoff conversation. It also does not count for points for the Cup drivers since they are running for the Cup championship, and so that's some very valuable potential max points that a driver that's trying to point their way up into the top 7 could utilize. Sarah Fogelman looking to the inside here of Nathan Fogler. Now for Sarah Fogelman, she is a part-time driver in that all-star car out of Trackhouse Racing. We've seen Reggie Fogelman in that car. We've seen Bryce Egan behind the wheel a number of races. Sarah coming into this race is only making her 7th start on the season. So being a part-time driver, not running full-time, even if she were to go to Victory Lane here tonight, now let's say she goes to Victory Lane another time before the end of this regular season, she would not be eligible for a playoff position because based off of the number of races left on the schedule for her for the start she's going to make, she would not reach the minimum starts requirement, which is 10 races. It was only a few weeks ago at Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway that we saw Nathan Fogler make his Cup Series debut, and he ran quite well in that race. Maybe that little taste of Cup Series action may have reinvigorated him, as his car looks strong. Trying to hold off Sarah Fogelman for the top position now. Nathan Fogler still looking for that first win of his career on the light side. Only one top 5 so far this season, though there's a lot of other drivers that are running well in points only have one top 5. Eli Bright, only one top 5. Autumn Brooks, who is 12th in points, only one top 5. Even Wes McCoy, we saw him go to Victory Lane last week at Kentucky. That was his first top 5 on the season. You don't have to be flashy. You just have to be consistent. Sarah Fogelman edged Fogler for the top spot. That last time by at the start-finish line was clear up through 1 and 2, didn't take it. And now Fogler will draw back alongside. We'll see if Sarah can get the run here through 3 and 4, and if she's clear, which she is, will she now move up in front of the 13. Looks like she's going to try and control both lanes. Going to tow Skylar Taylor on that inside line along with her. So now as we've gotten these cars into a longer run, it looks like there's 13 drivers that are going to be in this lead group. Wes McCoy and Jordan Anderson, they're just barely back there, not able to stay in the draft. We've lost Craig Batson, we've lost Autumn Brooks, a number of other drivers as well that are starting to kind of fade back into that second group of race cars. Few drivers though, they really need a caution. Cam Wright Jr. being one of them. This could be his worst finish of the season. I don't know coming into this race what his worst finish so far is. But right now he is in line to finish dead last. Ralph Mason there with him. At least he's got somebody to draft with. But these two are even 5.5 seconds back from the next car, which would be Juan Garcia, who's in a pack of 5 here. David Dixon, who is 4th in points. And he is only 16 points ahead of the 7th in standings cut line. So this is not the run that he needed. Both of the Southern Cross racing cars not doing well here in this one. Dave Smith, we talked about him. One of our former winners that's trying to get into a wild card spot. 18th in overall points, 25th place here right now. That's not going to cut it. Roberto Crown Jr., he's not doing all that well either. He's 21st. That's the bad news. The good news is he's not struggling nearly as bad as Cam Wright Jr. And I wondered if with those two struggling, if that could allow Kyle Langland to close up the gap for the points lead, but he's in 22nd. So who would be the driver right now to take advantage of the top 3, top 4 in points all struggling? It might be Colin Grace, who is on the tail end of this lead group. Colin 5th in the point standings, 39 points out of the points lead. He was only 4 points behind Dixon, only 11 points behind Langland, 36 behind Roberto Crown Jr., and 39 obviously behind Cam Wright Jr. But if the 27 nets a top 10 in this race, maybe even a top 5, Colin Grace could make a late regular season push for the regular season championship, which, you know, we talked about this on the Cup side a lot, but we don't really talk about it on the Lite side. That's 15 bonus points. That is almost a guaranteed 1 seed in the round of 10, and that equates to having gone to victory lane 3 times during the course of the regular season. Let's give credit where credit's due here for Sarah Fogelman as well. Out in front trying to hold off a couple of Fords, but we mentioned about the fact that all 3 of her teammates started 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Now the highest running of them is back in the 12th position. The 11 team did not opt for good qualifying speed. They started dead last, shotgun on the field, but knew that they had a good long run car. They executed well on pit road, and now they find themselves coming to 20 to go, out in front and leading this race. 3 wide for 2nd place. All blue ovals. Dylan Young on the top, Nathan Stapleton in the middle, Michael Turner on the bottom. That now turns into 3 wide for the lead, as Stapleton and Turner will both get alongside of Sarah Fogelman down the back straightaway, heading into turn 3. Look at the Fords up here. Also add in Daniel Voiles, Jackson Haywood, Kat Batson. Got a couple of the KB Racing Enterprises cars up here. Jackson Haywood spent a good portion of the season up there in the top 7 in points. We were talking about him as a potential playoff driver. Hit a bit of a cold streak, dropped out of the top 10 in points, 11th in the standings coming into this one. He could get back into the conversation with a victory here. Kat Batson pretty much in a must-win situation right now, and then would have to probably rely on a second victory as Michael Turner's coming in now, along with Eli Bright, Colin Grace, and Jordan Anderson. This is a little bit sooner, about a lap or 2 sooner than I expected to see these pit stops, but it's right around the window. And these drivers can make it the rest of the way now from this point on, provided they get the thing full of the fuel necessary. Dylan Young looks like he might be indicating he's coming to pit road this time. Very low on the entrance to turn 3. Oh, going to make some contact there with Sarah Fogelman. Actually, no, Dylan was not coming to pit lane, but Fogelman was. And Fogelman had to force her way down there. Nathan Fogler and a number of others on pit road this time. A number of Fords still electing to stay out the extra lap here. Get to the completion of lap 59 before they pit. And we'll see about those drivers that were there were, 4 or 5 that went the longest before they pit. I think Nathan Stapleton was actually one of them. Dylan Young, I think, might have actually been another. As more drivers hit pit road there with Cole Coybe leading them. But there you saw Dylan Young and Nathan Stapleton stayed out again. A little bit longer. Daniel Voiles, Jackson Haywood, and Kat Batson all able to go a little bit further here. Don't think there's necessarily much in it in terms of how much fuel you're going to have to take on. I think everybody's taking on about the same amount of fuel. Ooh, Dylan's got to try and get down there to the bottom. Cam Wright Jr. blocking his way. And then Dylan almost gets into Daniel Voiles there entering pit road. But I think the only mitigating factor between the laps of the drivers pitting in relation to each other is how much long run speed you'll probably have with your tires, of how many laps you put on them. Well, I don't have a ghost of an idea who's going to cycle out to the race lead. It might be Cody Majorek, but I'm not sure. We're waiting for everything to cycle around. A lot of the drivers, it looked like they would cycle to the front. They're currently being scored 13th, 14th place, so we got to wait for all the scoring to update. We got to wait for that group of drivers that was led down pit road by Voiles and Young. Find out where they cycle around to. But I think Cody Majorek is the up-to-speed driver right now, but he is not going to cycle to the race lead. It's going to be Daniel Voiles, I think, that actually is going to move to the top of the board. And scoring updates now, putting the 23 in P1. So Voiles to the point with less than 20 to go. Dylan Young into second. Third will be Cody Majorek. Fourth place, Autumn Brooks. So they did a great job on pit road with that team, as she's now up into the top 5. She was 13th or 14th when the pit stop cycle began. Jackson Haywood will cycle to 5th. And then it's going to be Nathan Stapleton 6th. 7th, Kat Batson. 8th, Roberto Crown Jr. So they picked up a lot of spots for second in the points as well. Michael Turner and Colin Grace are going to be the completion of the top 10. Looks like 12 drivers in that lead group, adding Aubrey Powell and Eli Bright. As now it's just going to come down to who's got the better tires for the long run here. We're not that far away from 10 laps to go. Right now, a couple of Cup guys, 1-2. Voiles running full time here in the Lite Series now, but not running for points. Trying to kind of put together a second notebook to help Kyle Langland in his attempt to make the playoffs this season. Dylan Young making his 5th start on the season on the Lite side for his 2nd top 5 and his 3rd top 10. And Autumn Brooks on the move, looking for 3rd place here on Cody Majorek. They were able to reel in Dylan Young. They will most certainly reel in Daniel Voiles as well. And it looks like about 13 drivers maybe in the conversation for this win, as Nathan Fogler was able to latch on to Aubrey Powell's draft. Sarah Fogelman, who has led 10 laps in this event, also trying to catch up to this group. As Autumn Brooks can get freight trained there on the bottom. Dylan Young, Cody Majorek, Jackson Haywood, tight draft there on the top. Move Dylan Young back to 2nd. Majorek still deadlocked with Brooks for 3rd. And Daniel Voiles in trouble now. His lead continuing to shrink by as much as 0.4 of a second every lap. They've now caught his draft, and they will be on his back bumper here by the time they get into turn 1, if not the exit of turn 2. Now the pit stops did not aid really anybody at the rear of the field in being able to pick up positions. Cam Wright Jr. is still dead last. He's actually about to be on the same straightaway as the leader. There you see him going into turn 3 as the leaders are coming out of turn 2. Ralph Mason, Mike Tellier, Juan Garcia, Chris Dollerton, Brody Kupski, all back there. Kyle Langland as well. Roberto Crown Jr., though, was able to work his way up into this lead group. So you are looking tentatively at your new points leader going into next week at Watkins Glen. If he stays up here in this lead group, he's in line for more than likely a top 10 finish. You can tell we're getting down to the end of this race. They were 4 wide for a moment there. Daniel Voiles trying to do the best he can to manipulate the draft. Keep those 2 lanes side by side with each other. They've not really been able to close right up on his back bumper yet. Now they do down the straightaway, but he had about 3 car lengths back to Dylan Young. As now Brooks, it looked like Dylan might have had to check up on the entry to 1. Brooks is clear, but stays low and might be able to get to the left rear quarter panel of Daniel Voiles. We'll see Autumn Brooks in the Cup race tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m., but Autumn looking for her first win in the Duracell Ultra Lite Series, the series that she is running for points in. Michael Turner very low there through 1 and 2, trying to make up some ground. He'll slot up to a battle for 2nd place with Daniel Voiles as Brooks clears for the lead. Looking for, that was Nathan Fogler to the inside of Roberto Crown Jr., who tucked up in line to the middle group in front of Jackson Haywood. Here comes Michael Turner looking to the inside here on Autumn Brooks for the top spot. He'll have her cleared through the center of 1 and 2, tucks up in front, puts that Pizza Hut Ford Mustang back out in clean air. Michael Turner signing to Michael Norman Motorsports, found victory lane very early on this season at another 1.5 miles, Las Vegas. And now looking for his 2nd win on the season, which would lock him into the playoffs, regardless of what happens in the next 3 weeks. Still got a little over 3 laps to hold him off, and here comes Nathan Fogler with a big charge through 1 and 2. Might come down to right place, right time here in terms of being that 2nd or 3rd place car, timing the move, being able to wrap the bottom. How about Eli Bright? The pole sitter's made his way back up here to the front, trying to get his first win on the season, trying to go coast to coast, pole to win here at Homestead. I guarantee you he's not been up here at the front all race. He's had an up and down race, but he's been able to come back to the front every time that he drops out of the top 10. He'll get alongside of Daniel Voiles for the 3rd position. Drag race to the line there, coming to 2 to go. Scoring gave that lap to Nathan Fogler. Love to wait and see what the interval was between him and Turner that time by at the stripe. Had to have been in the thousands. Yeah, scoring shows 1/1000th. But now look at this, the Toyota Power on the bottom. Little bit of a bubble push there with the draft. Eli Bright propels Nathan Fogler out in front. But now he'll look to the inside for the lead as we're coming around to see the white flag. 1 lap to go here at Homestead. Nathan Fogler trying to keep them side by side for 2nd, looking for his first career win. Here comes Eli Bright though on the bottom. He'll draw even off of 2. Fogler has the draft down the back. Not cleared though. Eli Bright, he'll look back to the inside again. Can Bright clear him? Fogler still to the outside. We're going to race this back to the stripe. Fogler with the momentum on the top is going to pick up the victory. His first career win will come here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Baby steps, right? Baby steps. There still is enough time in the season for someone to make a playoff push. Nathan Fogler with his first win on the season, first win of his career, came into this race 25th in points. If he gets another victory between now and Auto Club, he propels up into a wild card spot. But he needed that first win as a stepping stone. He gets it here tonight. What a great job there by Nathan Fogler and that Duracell team. That's going to be Nathan's second top 5 on the season, and only his 4th top 10 in 17 races. Eli Bright is going to come up just short of the coast to coast. But second place is going to garner him some really good points, as he will look to keep the gap between himself and that 7th in the standings cut line. Michael Turner was looking for that second victory on the season. He's going to complete the podium. Colin Grace, going to be a good points day for Colin, who came into this one 5th in points. Undoubtedly going to bypass David Dixon and Kyle Langland. We could see Colin as high as 3rd in points heading into Watkins Glen next week. Jackson Haywood will get to top 5 in 5th. Daniel Voiles in 6th. We'll see about what he was able to do here in the Lite Series, what that'll translate to on the Cup side tomorrow. Roberto Crown Jr. is going to be your new points leader. Came into this race 3 points behind Cam Wright Jr., but finishes 7th. Dylan Young, great run there. We'll see how the top 10 performance for him also translates to how he'll do in the Cup race tomorrow. Nathan Stapleton, great run in 9th. Stapleton trying to get up there into a wild card conversation, was 15th in points. He was, I believe, 13 points outside of that 3rd and final wild card spot. Might have been able to get up into the conversation now. And Autumn Brooks, great job with that final pit stop. Was looking like was going to finish more than likely 15th, 16th, 17th, and finishes in the top 10 in the 10th position. Look on down here through the remainder of these finishing results, though, and there are some drivers that, leaving this race, might be a little bit worried. Cody Majorek looked like a car that could win, finished in 15th place. We saw that Stapleton had a good run. Skylar Taylor with a pretty decent run as well. Same for Wes McCoy, just inside of the top 20. Things get very tight for those final wild card positions. Juan Garcia, however, may drop out of a wild card spot. After starting 3rd, finished in 26th. And the big one, Cam Wright Jr., who did manage to not finish last. That was Ralph Mason, who had an issue in the closing stages of this race and did not reach the conclusion. Cam Wright Jr., though, 29th, not that much better. He's going to lose the points lead. He will more than likely drop down at least to 2nd place and be within striking distance of Colin Grace for that heading into next week. We'll have to see if Cam Wright Jr. can bounce back when we get to Watkins Glen. David Dixon also not the best of points days for him. Both of the Southern Cross Racing cars struggled this afternoon. Dixon, I believe, is going to drop, well, if not out of the top 5, he'll be very close to dropping out of the top 5, as Colin Grace, I think, is going to bypass him. Maybe even Eli Bright may have accumulated enough points to bypass him in the standings. Points are still pretty close from 3rd on down to about 10th in the standings. So a lot of moving parts and pieces could be taking place not only at the conclusion of this race, but in the final 3 races of the regular season. But Nathan Fogler going to become the 16th different winner on the season. Can you believe that? 17 races, 16 different drivers have found victory lane. Cam Wright Jr. is the only one that's been to victory lane more than once so far this season. Now does Nathan Fogler have the springboard he needs to be able to potentially get into a last-minute playoff spot? He's going to need another win between now and Auto Club, but some pretty good tracks coming up at Watkins Glen, Hanford, and Auto Club Speedway. Thank you all for tuning in to this afternoon's race here from Homestead. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We have shown you full finish results, and you are now looking at your point stands as a result of this one. We'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we close out our race weekend from the Homestead-Miami Speedway with the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers. But until then, I've been Seth Cole. Thanks for tuning in here this afternoon as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, all flying racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.